So in the biggest story of the Vikings offseason on Monday, Eric Wilson got a second round tender slapped on him being a restricted free agent. Great. It's going to pay him $3.1 million this season. And the Vikings, with their restricted free agents in the past, have done the second rounder a lot, where Adam Thielen was a second round RFA tender in 2017 before he ended up signing his first extension. Nick Easton, same thing in 2017. Anthony Harris in 2019 before he was franchise tagged this season 2020. Now, question is, what is a restricted free agent? See this come up a lot now. RFAs generally are on the back end of UDFA contracts, so guys that you're bringing in after the draft get an RFA season. So it is a right of first refusal, and as an RFA, teams can either slap a first, second, or original round tender on your ass. So now those are set amounts. First rounder obviously being more than second, obviously being more than original rounder. Blah blah blah. And what it is that you're a restricted free agent that the team tendered you, and then you can still go around and negotiate with teams, and if you can get a better long-term deal, you can bring that deal back to your original team, and they get right of first refusal. If they're like, we will match that, they'll match that. And if they're like, nah, we're good, then the second team that signed you to the offer sheet then has to give up whatever level tender that they gave up. So if you were a 7th round pick, original round tender, 7th rounder, if they put a first or second rounder on you, they have to give that up. Now, generally, you usually don't see a lot of first round RFAs where if anyone has played to that level, they're generally going to work out a long-term deal beforehand. But a second rounder is generally enough of a deterrent to keep away for teams to keep away from players. I'm surprised last year Anthony Harris, coming off the 2018 that he did, some teams didn't at least sniff around potentially giving up a second round pick for Anthony Harris and then paying him as an RFA. But I mean, would have liked to know that now in hindsight. But with Wilson being a UDFA, a original rounder would have been nothing. So second rounder is a little something. Gives Wilson a nice little chunk of change for 1 year as well. Wilson recorded 52 tackles and had a 66.7 overall PFF grade last year as the Vikings starting weak side linebacker, been getting out with injury. And I really like Eric Wilson. When he came in as UDFA out of Cincinnati, I think that a lot of good things happened whenever he was on the field, primarily in special teams, and eventually he worked his way in to being a starter, at times a spot starter in place of Gideon and Eric Wilson, as well as Anthony Barr at times. So he does have position flexibility. Has played all 3 linebacker spots for the Vikings, but I don't know, the Vikings are truly going to ride and die with Barr and Kendricks for the foreseeable future. I think this may be the final season for Eric Wilson because I just don't see the justification in spending big money on 3 linebackers when their top 2 linebackers are on the biggest deals. They are 3-down guys. Nickel is the new base defense, etc. So just having a guy like Eric Wilson around is much more of a luxury than a necessity at that point. Or maybe it's a spot where they part ways with Anthony Barr, and then it's Kendricks and Eric Wilson as the 2 linebackers going forward. But getting way ahead of ourselves. Either way, nice little payday for Eric Wilson, a 1-year RFA tender, and hopefully it keeps him in the fold for at least 1 more year. Although, if some team really wants Eric Wilson, he's ready to just plop down a massive deal. Well, I mean, we'll take a second-round pick. I mean, it's no problem. All right, but your thoughts? Vikings slapping second-round RFA tender on Eric Wilson. Let us know in the comment section below. Subscribe, Venmo, Skull, production value.